Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Couch of the Dead. Today, straight out of your late 70s rec room and right into our hearts, we review the brand new horror movie, Faces of Death.
Hi, I'm Vanessa.
And I'm Matt.
We are two die-hard horror movie fans who want to share our love of spooky cinema with you.
So please, if you dare, join us on the Couch of the Dead.
And
Microphone, we're back. Ha!
we are back. Welcome back to Couch of the Dead. And if you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is a pretty simple, straightforward podcast where we go watch a horror movie and we come back and we tell you all about it. We spoil it and we analyze it and we give you our
Brutally honest review.
yes. And also we play a little bit of horror trivia game. Depending on the movie that we just watched. So we try to keep it in along the same kind of theme.
We have fun here.
Yeah, and we also drink. Yes,
Oh, so look at that perfect segue.
yes. What is the creepy cocktail of today?
You first.
So I am going back to my roots, margarita, or as we say in Spanish, margarita. So a little bit of tequila, a little bit of tequila mix. Yeah. What about you?
And I'm drinking Kahlua chocolate sips with milk. And in the spirit of our little bit of a throwback episode here, if you know, you know, I'm going to call this one Oops, I Crapped My Pants. That's what this drink's called.
Yeah.
Or-
it looks
or-
like poop. It looks like
or-
poop.
Or leche con caca in Spanish.
That doesn't sound very appetizing.
It's good, though.
So
So
tonight
anyway.
is Faces of Death.
So we went to the theater and we saw Faces of Death. And if you don't know, for you youngins that might be watching, Faces of Death was a video that was made in 1978, and that was back before the interweb, and it was kind of part of the suburban lexicon of urban legends. And Faces of Death was a quote-unquote documentary about death with your narrator Francis Gross, that was his name in the videos. And what we saw in these videotapes was supposedly actual footage of people dying. Someone getting electrocuted in the electric chair. The famous scene where people were eating monkey brains and they killed the monkey. A lot of other stuff. And
I'll have to say I was not alive when it was made, but it made the rounds when I was younger than I should have been. Did you grow up talking about this movie, or was there a certain time in your youth that it came out?
well, when I was a tiny ute, Faces of Death was something that we all talked about in school. And there was always like that one kid who supposedly had a copy, and it made the rounds. And I remember very vividly watching it with my buddy Dale at his house, and we watched Faces of Death, and we were oddly traumatized in a good way. Like we thought we were watching something forbidden. That was the whole point.
I think that
before
was.
the internet, when everything spread via a game of telephone or rumors, it was like, oh my God, it's real. Did you hear it? That's real. So when this new movie came out, and same font, I purposefully stayed away from any kind of previews, any
Mm-hmm.
kind of reviews. But the marketing campaign, I mean, the movie is called, Faces of Death, and
Mm-hmm.
it's marketed as part of this lore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So for me, um, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but I do remember none of my friends have ever been into horror movies growing up, but my brothers were big into horror movies. Thank God they were. I watched one too many horror movies, covering my eyes and having my blanket up to my eyes sometimes. But at some point, this made the rounds in my house with my older brothers, and I remember seeing parts of it at some point, and I also felt that I was watching something I wasn't supposed to. And yeah, I think that's the whole idea behind this the original movie. Fortunately, I also did not see on purpose um, watch any marketing for this new movie. However, I did go with a little bit of expectation that was from the original movie was what we were going to, but a little bit more current. And I think a lot of people might go into this movie expecting a hardcore sequel to this.
Well, and
I don't want to spoil it yet.
I was intrigued enough to go see the movie and want to see what it was about.
Mm-hmm.
Without spoiling it, there's a lot of nods to
Oh
the
yeah.
the, the Faces of Death VHS
Yes.
tapes.
Absolutely.
That's
What
how
was your first impression?
like we used to have to watch stuff, VHS stuff. Um,
First impressions, Faces of Death.
you want me to be honest?
Mm-hmm.
Disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it was a bad movie,
Mm-hmm.
but just I think this movie would hit different if you didn't know anything about the original videos,
Hmm.
about the original documentary.
Interesting.
Um, because when you market something as Faces of Death and you're marketing it to maybe a younger crowd, they already know it's fake. They could research it very easily and get all the information. We grew up in an
We
age where
didn't.
you didn't have that, so
No.
everything just spread by word of mouth and
Yeah.
rumor and legend, and that made it a lot cooler.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
I like having all this information at your fingertips. It's great,
I don't know. Sometimes
but sometimes like you
it's not.
just
Yeah.
you miss those days where it was like, hey, did you hear about that? And then nobody ever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think
You speculated a lot.
I think the last time we may have gotten anything even remotely close to that in the age of the internet was the Blair Witch Project.
Mm-hmm.
Where they
Yes.
made fake documentaries, and there were people out there that
Yeah.
actually thought it was real.
Well, there was a website, so it had
Yeah,
to be
it
real,
had
right?
to be real. Now people be like, yeah, come on.
My first impression was I in my head immediately I thought if I would have gone in with the expectation of watching a true original sequel from the movie, I would have been disappointed. However, I really enjoyed where it took us and the journey and how it resolved. I really enjoyed everything from start to finish. So that is just my first impression. No spoilers yet, and
It's okay.
let's
It's okay to be wrong. That's fine.
why don't we
So
jump right in then
so
with
well,
spoilers?
this movie is directed.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
we got to do all
Go
that
ahead.
stuff by Daniel Goldhaber,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to let you pronounce her name, our
Oh,
lead actress, because
yes.
it's
Her name is Barbie Ferreira.
all right, cool. And I don't remember. I'm sure she's in stuff. She's younger, so I probably haven't seen it.
I've seen her.
Um,
I don't think she's ever been a lead in any movies that I've seen, but I feel like I've seen her in TV shows.
It also stars Dacre Montgomery, who you may know as Billy from Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like right away, I'm like, wait a minute, that guy looks really familiar. And
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't have the mullet and the jean jacket and all the stuff, you know. But I'm like, oh my God, it's him. Cool. And I
Mm.
loved his character
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Stranger Things.
he was really good.
It also stars Josie Tota, which, oh my God, if I went to school with her, would I pick that name apart? Talking
Oh.
about throwbacks and how, we used to, just make fun of each other mercilessly.
Okay, we also have Erin Holiday.
I think that
Yeah.
the best thing we can do is just really get into our spoilers, because if we tell you too much beforehand, it's gonna spoil it, and we don't want to spoil it before we spoil it. So with that being said, we're gonna spoil this bitch.
Before we continue, if you
Jazz
are
hands, spirit fingers.
if you are watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so that you get notified every
You can
time.
watch me pick my ear, and I'm gonna do it long enough that she can't take it out.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I just did.
I mean,
So,
listen to us, watch
yes,
us,
you can listen
whatever
to us on
way
Spotify,
you do it.
Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeart Podcasts. You can also connect with us through Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. What else is out there? I'm not in Yik Yak.
Kino.
Kino app. Let's start with that. So this movie starts with a bunch of little clips, and this might sound so familiar to us because who isn't nowadays? Who isn't watching and scrolling through endless short clips? Either you're watching on TikTok or on Facebook or Instagram. Now, I can tell your age by the type of short clips you're watching. If you're watching reels from Facebook that are 3 weeks old, then you're older.
That would be me.
If you're watching TikToks as they come out minutes ago, then
I don't know how to work
you're
your
a little
TikTok
younger.
machine.
And I'm sure there will be something out there that is even younger than
I watch
TikTok.
YouTube shorts too.
Yeah, I mean, why not? So
Apparently,
there's
I'm old.
so there's a bunch of videos, and we see someone clicking on the content, either mature content or
This is
no flag or
obviously
flag.
someone who's a moderator.
Right. And if you have ever needed to report a video because of whatever you think goes against the guidelines,
Community standards.
yeah, community standards,
stuff.
then you know that they are real people, or I hope they are reviewing this, moderating basically this video. So this is where we meet Margot.
Yep, we meet Margot, our protagonist, and she works for a company called Kino, it's a Kino app, and it's basically TikTok.
Yes.
And she's moderating these videos, and she comes across a particularly disturbing video of I believe the first one is the guy getting electrocuted. Oh yeah, the decapitation.
She sees the decapitation. She
and
kind of rolls her eyes and like.
Now, if you know, because the person narrating this decapitation is our old guy from 1978, Francis Gross. It's straight off the Faces of Death
Now,
VHS
if you've never
tape.
seen
Yeah.
the original movie, then you just think it's just a regular narrator.
But his voice was like ingrained in my head as a child from watching this movie, and I'll always recognize his voice.
I honestly thought this was very creative. If you are an older generation, Gen X, and you recognize the narration, then you kind of already have an idea that this was done like as a documentary perspective. However, the video footage that she's watching doesn't look dated as the narration, you know, felt or sounded like.
It was a modern video with Francis Gross narrating it.
Mm-hmm. And
And
there's a
so right away now I'm like, okay, here's where our
well,
Faces of Death
right.
connection
well, there's
hops in.
a decapitation, but there were mannequins, um, mannequins doing the decapitation with a like a
well, they were rigged up.
sword.
They were automated, basically. Right. They were.
But the decapitated person was a real person.
Was a person.
Yes, not a mannequin.
He worked for the Department of Redundancy Department.
Yes.
And so
she right away. Yeah, she's let it go and.
Yeah, she was just like, okay, but she comes across the other video in her travels of somebody getting electrocuted. Mm-hmm. Same thing, narration, everything.
Mannequins.
Yeah, and now she's starting to get a little like a little sus.
Well, she calls her supervisor, her boss, and she's like, I am not really sure about this one, and she tries to explain without sounding too paranoid, but she's like, I watched one earlier that it was with mannequins, and it was supposed to be a killing of a person, and the boss is like, nope, that's not real, just don't flag it, keep going. And she goes, okay.
And what we kind of find out, and we'll lay it out there right now because we find it out a little later, the specifics, but when she goes back home, she's with her roommate, and he's trying to get her out to go to like some social function, and he's like, you got to get out. And she's like, I'm not even on the internet, which, she's got an ancient phone.
Right.
And the first thing I asked was, when was this movie supposed to take place? But then everybody else has smartphones.
Yes.
So she does not have one to begin with. And they're at like a little convenience store, like prepping for their party that they're going for. And two people recognize her. And we find out that she was a pretty big influencer. Mm-hmm. And she was doing a video.
Are you going to spoil it right now?
I said because it doesn't matter when we spoil this. Okay. And she was dancing on a train track with her friend. It was with
her sister, actually.
Yeah, her sister. And their whole thing was they were going to jump off the train tracks.
When the train...
Right before the train hit him. Well, she makes it. Her sister kind of jumps and trips and gets hit by the train and killed.
And obviously killed. So she obviously got famous.
Well, now my first thing was they were recording this video. They weren't doing it live. And
yeah. Good catch.
How did
post that?
Well, there was a little part in it where she said the police leaked the video.
Yes.
Now, again, maybe a little plot hole. I'm like, why would the police somebody would have to upload this video onto whatever platform. And it not like, oops, like, oh, I didn't mean for somebody to see that. Mm-hmm. Like somebody had to do this intentionally. This.
Yeah.
So.
That's a little bit of a plot hole.
So her life is basically like
marked by this,
almost ruined, and she doesn't want to go out, and people recognize her all over the place. So
and rightly so.
Yeah.
Still.
So she's like, when these girls recognize her in the convenience store, she's like, nope, I'm going back home.
Yeah.
And so now we know that this is her backstory, and she's got some problems,
and she works in the company that actually got her video to be a viral video. And I think, and later on she does say that the reason she works there is because she doesn't want these kinds of viral videos to be something accessible to people. So she has some sort of
she's going to make a difference.
Yes.
By gob dag nabbit. Yeah.
She has a mission to protect the viewers, because at the end of the day...
Won't somebody think of the children?
At the end of the day, her sister died, and everybody's just kind of celebrating that, hey, there's this happened,
Well, there
and
wasn't grief around it. It turned into a social media spectacle.
right. And today's this is a very important subject in today's world, because in a world where we watch so much in so little span of time, and we're just going from one thing to another, and it matters. There are real people out there, and I'm not trying to do a PSA announcement or anything. I'm just saying I can relate. There are horrible things out there that we watch. All of these Karen videos, and the victims of things, and even um, abuse out there that we watch, and we watch it for our own entertainment, and these are real lives. Okay, I'm
So
gonna get
anyway,
off my
back to the
soapbox.
movie.
I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Let's just continue with the movie.
So during her travels, before she decided that she was going to go out with her roommate, he gives her, in the greatest piece of foreshadowing ever, a lipstick knife. So it's a lipstick, whatever you want to call it, cylinder thing, and you pull the lipstick out, and there's this little blade, and we're like, yep, that's going to come into play later, you know.
Yep, and
And
boy did it.
yeah.
So we're back at work, and
Well, this is where she sees the missing person. The guy is he? Oh, he's a filmmaker,
yes,
like an independent filmmaker, but kind of high profile, and he's missing, and she recognizes him as the guy in the electrocution
right.
video.
So in one of the scenes, she's going over some of rules with new employees. She's basically telling these employees, like, listen, you can do this, you can't do that, you sign an MDA, you're not taking your work home. Whatever you see here, do not go home and Google it. This is all protected by the company. So if you do any of that,
Don't even think about it.
don't even think about it.
Don't talk about it.
Don't. It's like Fight Club.
Do not taunt Happy Fun Ball.
So, obviously, what you see, it's really hard to unsee.
Well, then, so she's getting really suspicious and kind of a little caught up with these videos. And
Because now she sees a third one.
yes. So she decides she's going to go on Reddit.
Well, after she brings it up to her boss again, and her boss is basically saying, no, you gotta let this go. This is not what we're here for. I count on you. And so yes, she goes on Reddit, and she kind of asks questions like, hey, could this be real? And
well, this is where she discovers the original Faces of Death videos.
her roommate happens to be a horror fan, and at some point she talks to him, and she asks him if she has ever heard the Faces of Death, because in the Reddit,
Yeah, because he's into like really like kind of like fringe, like horror movie.
yes, and in the Reddit, they were talking about snuff films, or films that were done with the purpose of making you think that they were real. And he says this, oh yeah, like Faces of Death, whatever. So at some point she's looking through his movie collection that are VHS, and she sees the Faces of Death. So she puts it in. She's now fast forwarded, and she finds she sees the monkey, and then it reminds her, oh wait, that's what they did in the third video that she watched.
So she starts, when she fast forwards through it, now she's seeing the same videos on the videotape from the original Faces of Death that she saw on the
app.
The videos that she was editing or flagging or adminning,
moderating.
Yeah.
And she's fast forwarding and see if she sees anything else that she has already seen, and she did end up seeing the electrocution one, and now that's two in a row. So that's kind of like that's more than suspicions. she's putting together that there might be a copycat out there.
And so in the meantime, now we see our typical social media influencer.
Oh, yes.
We see a gentleman who he's at the time he's working in what looks like a cell phone store,
Right.
and he sees,
Wireless
yeah,
something.
he sees like her, what would be her Instagram, but it's on this,
Or TikTok.
yeah, but it's on this platform again, this
Kino
Kino
app.
platform,
Mm-hmm.
and
He
he
takes an interest.
you can tell he's like watching all her videos and he's
Mm-hmm.
hearting them and
Yep.
everything, and
Now he goes to her profile and try to
yeah,
see,
through
okay,
the through,
what's her
yep,
username.
and he looks through his records on the store,
Mm-hmm.
from the store, and he stalks her
He
and
finds
finds her.
her, which is this is real. I mean, there are people out there with this kind of capabilities, and I know this because I don't know if you're aware. TikTok has this thing of finding people, finding that person who did something wrong to someone, and then all of a sudden people literally go through all of their information, all of their profiles, find a little bit, a piece of sign from a picture that they were posing for, and all of a sudden they know where they live, they know what they do for a living. It's scary. So this is not far-fetched at all, especially for a person who works at a cellular, you know, wireless place.
So we see her now. She's with her friend, and they're trying to set up some videos. And they're at a pool, and they're in their bathing
Oh,
suits, and
you've
they're
seen
dancing.
those.
And the dude runs by right with the pool noodle, and he's like, ah.
But you've seen those at the gym. You've seen them in
Yep.
public.
But we do see now a shot from outside with a creepy looking, car, big
Mm.
Cadillac with tinted windows, and we assume it's the guy from the cellular phone
Mm-hmm.
store, and that he's kind of targeting her, stalking her, and we're like, okay, we have a killer in our midst.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we go to the locker room,
Mm.
and
She's taking
she's in there by herself, of course. Tons
lots.
and tons and tons of pictures.
Yeah.
And we hear, coming from another area of the locker room, we hear one of her videos
Mm-hmm.
playing.
And of course, she goes to investigate.
Yep. And she goes to investigate, and there's a phone taped up to the wall of the shower with red tape. And, well, that's a theme in this movie, too, red tape.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a clear red tape.
Mm-hmm.
And our killer jumps out.
And he's wearing a mask,
He's wearing
like a white,
just a plain white
very
mask. Well, you don't. You just need to
and then
conceal
like
your identity.
almost like the material for stockings, but it's all over him, like his head, and I think his arms also.
Yeah. And so he hits her with what almost looks like an EpiPen kind of thing, but we find out later that what was it?
Fentanyl.
Fentanyl.
Mm-hmm.
So he incapacitates her, knocks her out.
And we don't see anything else until much
Yep.
later.
Yep. So we assume that the guy in the cellular phone store is the same guy.
Yeah, it's
you
the
know.
copycat.
And spoiler, it is.
It is. At another location, we do see a man who he seems to be. Oh no, he was looking through the app again, and he sees this man, and it's worth noting that we saw the followers of the first girl, and it was up in the thousands. And now he's looking through another video, and he sees this guy who also has a big following. So according to the influence, whatever whoever makes these rules, after a certain amount of followers, you become either a micro influencer or a regular influencer, whatever. But he seems interested in the amount of followers, which really is not going anywhere after that, which was a little bit
Well,
disappointing.
yeah, because he wants to find
Well,
people who were known.
right.
That's,
And at
that's
the end
the
of the
whole
day,
point of what he's doing.
yes. And at the end of the day, he does want a following of his own, basically. I mean, whatever. But
So Margot is becoming suspicious of all these because the influencer, the female influencer
goes
now
missing.
is missing, and she's realizing now that she's missing. The filmmaker that was in the electrocution video, he's missing.
Mm-hmm.
And they are in they're in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes to the police.
Well, I didn't finish about the other guy. So the news, it happens to be a news reporter or a news anchor, and he happens to show up right in front of his house, and he cuts his hand, and he dons this.
Well, this is our
character.
killer. When you say he shows up
Sorry.
in front of his house, our killer
Yes,
shows up.
The killer shows up in front of the news anchor's house, and he cuts his hand, and he dons this.
And he puts on
character.
the greatest disguise ever because he puts on glasses and buttons his shirt all the way up.
Yeah.
And then in a nod
But he
to
also
our
talks-
original Faces of Death narrator, he says his name is Francis.
Yes. But he also seems very meek.
Yeah.
Very.
But he has glasses,
Yes.
so you don't know it's him. So, see, I don't even know who I'm sitting aside of right now. This person aside of me has glasses on now.
So he seems very, hurt, and he gets the newscaster to invite him inside, to
Put a bandage over
put a
his hand.
bandage over him, whatever. He ends up doing the same thing to him as he did to the girl, and now we are back to.
Well, he does,
Margot.
but in mid abduction, his son, the guy's son, comes out and he takes his son too. He just gets both of them.
Yeah.
He's like, "What the hell? I killed two
Hey,
chickens with one shot."
Collateral damage. So we're back on with Margot, and Margot did try to convince his boss, but her boss just kept saying that she was just a little bit paranoid. So because someone on Reddit tried to ask, okay, well, where are all these things happening? Like, where are all these videos? Because she's already uploaded or shared like 2 or 3 links. And so she comes to this idea that she needs the original videos because she doesn't want them to be linked to her if she just shares them from the Kino app. So she goes to her boss and she gives him tickets to.
Of all bands, the Grateful Dead. She's like, "Are you still a Deadhead?" And
of
he's
course
like,
he
"Yeah."
is.
And she's like, I'm like, where did that come
I got
from? The
tickets.
Grateful Dead.
Honestly, and I told him before, like the Dead are
I mean,
still
it wasn't a
very
plot.
big.
It wasn't a plot hole
No,
or anything. I'm just
no.
thinking of all
I
the bands
know-
they could have picked.
Depending on where you live, I know quite a bit of Deadheads out there. And
So anyway, he's like, "Well, I got all this stuff to do," and she's like, "No, you go to your concert. I'll do it for you." So it's obvious that she's going to get into his computer because he gives her access, and she's going to pull all these videos off, and she's going to upload them to Reddit and try to do it that way
Yeah.
and figure out what's going on.
So
And-
she goes and takes her own hard drive, external hard drive, and she just copies a whole bunch of them. Takes 2 hours. She's back home.
And she goes back home and she's going through some of ththese videos and she comes across the one she's looking for and tells her roommate, like, "Hey, this is the video I was telling you about." And he gets creeped out because he's like, "I don't like this. You ain't using my laptop anymore."
Well, but that wasn't before she did upload the one to Reddit, and then we see, who do we see responding to her posts? Our killer, or AKA Francis. So Francis does something that it gets done a lot, and I'm gonna get on my soapbox again.
Again?
Again. He takes a link for her to click, and when she clicks on that link is masked to give him permission to see where she is located.
See, I didn't understand any of that.
Basically, her IP address and information. Yes, this is done very frequently. So if you click any links, it might not reveal or show anything on your side of the computer, on your side of the screen, but you might have given someone else access to your personal computer. So after this is when,
I gave a Nigerian prince my bank account information once. That was the last time I did that.
you never got the millions of dollars that he didn't have anybody
know.
else to.
You don't know. I might have.
Anyway,
I'm just pretending I'm poor.
So he gets her location, her name, everything about her.
Finds out she's the train video girl.
Yep. Finds out where she lives in Alabama. And in the meantime, her roommate say, "You're not using my laptop anymore because this is getting serious. Like this is actually getting a little scary."
Well, he's concerned about her too because she's become slightly obsessed with all this, and he's like, "Why don't we just go to the cops?" And she's like, "No, I need hard evidence."
And she didn't want it to be linked to her.
Yeah, and she did sign an NDA with her company, so she really couldn't just go and show anybody these videos.
She would get fired.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. However,
which again, like, get fired or save people's lives. You know?
6-7.
Don't ever do that again.
So, unfortunately, she needed some sort of stimulant to get through all of this night. When she was at her boss's computer, she happens to leave her little stash.
Never leave your bag of stimulants laying around.
Blue little pills. And when she shows up for work the next day...
Yeah, her key card doesn't work. She's basically now shit canned. And you're kind of led to believe at first maybe the boss thought that she was pulling these videos. But no, it's because stimulants aren't allowed in the workplace. Now, technically, what does that mean? They can't drink coffee?
That's a stimulant.
Yeah, seriously. But I get it. So it's part of their policy, and he fires her. And the first thing she does after she gets fired and has no income is goes out and buys her own laptop.
Well, she's not gonna be able to collect.
But she's like, oh, I'm gonna buy my own laptop now.
Oh, maybe she took her 401k. She gets her own laptop. She goes to work. I mean, she goes home, but she,
goes to work investigating the case.
But in the meantime, little old Francis takes a 7-hour and 57-minute drive from Florida.
And we find out his actual name is Arthur.
That's funny. IMDb didn't have his character name.
Yeah, his real name, real character's name is Arthur.
Arthur.
Francis is just his nom de plume.
Yes, obviously, we know that. But, we knew it wasn't his name. So, Arthur, a.k.a. Francis, a.k.a. our killer, shows up when she goes to bed.
In her apartment. And in the latest installment of If People Owned a Gun, this movie will be over a lot quicker.
Yes.
He busts in. Well, he did kind of surprise the roommate. He ambushed the roommate.
Yeah, and the roommate, if you know who Mondo is, this guy looks just the same. Sorry, Mondo.
I don't know who Mondo is, and I don't care. So
he's an influencer, actually.
Oh, okay. So he kills the roommate, and
the roommate did try to yell and fight it.
He put up a good fight, and But
Margot was sleeping with her headphones on.
Yeah, but she hears enough, and it's a small apartment, and she comes out, and a struggle ensues, and he hits her with the EpiPen thing full of fentanyl again, and she's out
like a light.
And she wakes up, and we see this before.
Ooh.
We see this before too, but she wakes up in a basement of a house
in a cage
with all our other people who are missing but haven't been killed yet.
And she
our influencer,
right away,
our newscaster.
The influencer was the first one she recognized.
Now, this killer, He's on one hand, he's very organized, very intelligent, but he lets her coat like draped over a chair on a rug right next to the cage where she can reach out, pull
Well,
over.
in the meantime, yes.
Yeah, pull over there, and she can reach into the pocket through
Right.
the chicken wire fence, pull out her lipstick knife, and cut the red
Cut.
tape around her wrists. But in the
In the
meantime,
meantime, we have him, and he has figured out that Margot's Reddit post has become a thing that everybody's talking about now in the Kony app. Kino app. And in the Kino app, they're talking about it. And he realizes this is his moment.
mm-hmm.
So he dons his mask with red fake contact lenses.
Yeah. Well, but before that, he staged the mannequins to basically have a shooting of our news anchor,
Yes.
which was a death where somebody was
So,
basically
evade.
in Faces of Death. This guy killed his family, was holed
Was
up in
about
his
to,
house,
yeah.
and surrounded by the cops.
the
And when he
cops.
comes out, the cops just shoot him.
Yeah. But well, he comes out with a gun.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, the cops are gonna shoot him in the Faces of Death.
So he's
original tape.
recreating this.
Because that's what he wants to do. He wants to recreate all of the deaths.
Mhm.
Because why not? And at some point he does talk about why, which was to me was kind of like a letdown. He takes this opportunity to become viral himself. He goes live as he's pouring. He had chopped up the poor roommate's body in a bathtub, and he's very particular about his cleanliness, I guess.
Yeah, at one point he gets like
Freaked out.
a little bit of blood on him, or even a little too close,
Too
and
close,
starts
yes.
obsessively
Oh my
scrubbing
God,
his
scrubbing
fingernails.
yes.
So
there's
we have a
lot of-
serial killer who doesn't like to get blood on him.
Hey,
Ironically,
and he's pouring acid?
acid. He's dissolving
As
the body.
he's video
As he's live streaming it.
with a foam stick, whatever, and he's getting all of these likes and all of these comments, and he's just fucking loving it. I mean, he really is. He's like smile, like I think he was like, I'm making it big, because I'm going viral, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, we got Margot over here.
Who cuts herself free,
Mm-hmm.
and then is starting to use the knife,
Yes.
the lipstick knife,
Well,
to undo the screws
Yes.
to her cage.
Wow. Like,
Well,
honestly.
there is no way
Come on.
she would have been able to do it that quick.
No, yes. Well, but he's up there.
But
he's
anyway,
doing things, right?
Again,
When you're like shaking the chicken wire thingy and those things become loose, how is it? Or is it not? Easy to get something like that and just unscrew those.
no, that's actually pretty hard.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And anyway, she gets out and she finds one of the keys. Now, again, our super organized and meticulous serial killer just leaves a
the
key
keys.
to a padlock sitting on a table right next to it.
Yeah.
He frees our influencer.
Sammy, her name is.
Yep.
Mhm.
Frees Sammy, and they make a break for her because she couldn't find the keys for the other
For the
things. And
last
she's
guy.
like, we'll be back. We'll get avenge my death. You know, we'll go and get help.
Uh-huh.
So this is one of the parts I actually did like about the movie, because in these movies, people make just
The
really
dumbest
stupid decisions.
mistakes, yes.
So they're weaving their way up through the house while he's live streaming
And they're trying to be
himself,
quiet.
dissolving.
Yes.
the roommate's
Dissolving
body.
The roommate's, yes.
And the first thing I said when they got out into like the living room was, they're like tweaking at the door and they're
Well,
like, we
Sammy
can't get out.
is.
And I'm like, there's a giant window there. Just throw something through it. And
And
that's
then
what
she
she
does.
does. She
Sammy
picks
does.
up a
Yes.
a vase or a
vase or something,
sculpture.
some
or
sculpture, yeah.
so throws it through,
However-
bash.
However, even though Sammy's trying to do the right thing, Margot wants to collect evidence. And she happens upon a laptop, and all kinds of files, and her own file in the files with her name, and an external hard drive. So right away I'm thinking just grab the hard drive and just run. But no, she has to go through the fucking files. She has to click through them and see what is on them, and then like however many minutes later, we have Sammy out there. She broke through the glass. She's in the
again,
backyard.
there's a wooden fence, and she makes another good decision
She
because
looks
there's
around.
like a plastic
Like a
like
Ottoman table thing.
yeah,
Like a
and she
wicker.
slides that up, jumps the fence, but now
Well, he heard the
breaking
glass,
of the glass
yes,
alerts him, so he
yes.
gets out a rifle, a high-powered rifle
No,
with a scope.
a sniper rifle.
Well, he's not a sniper.
Well, he was looking through the scope.
Anyway,
You
could have a sniper rifle. It don't make you a sniper.
He gives Sammy the opportunity. He literally yells, "Zigzag!"
And the first thing I'm thinking of, if you've ever watched the cartoon Archer, is Serpentine Babu.
Well,
If you know,
to
you
me,
know.
I do a zigzag because I used to play Call of Duty, and what you do is you zigzag.
Because if it works in Call of Duty, it's gonna work in real life.
Well, it is hard to shoot at a.
Did you ever see It's Always Sunny? Chick, click, 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 click.
Anyway, so she is zigzagging.
So, but he gets her. He gets her in the side, and she goes down.
Yep. Yep.
And in the meantime, Margot does the same thing.
Yep. Well, she finally does grab the external hard drive.
Yep.
And something else, and then she tries to make a break for it.
Well, and she comes around the corner, and he's standing right there.
Yes.
Now, right now, first of all, boom, she's dead.
He didn't see her, and she didn't see him.
Now, you can make the argument that he didn't want to kill her. He wanted to use her for a video. So maybe he didn't want to kill her, because if he wanted to kill her, she's like, ah! And he's like, ah! And then you have this thing where she turns and starts running, and he just could have... The first thing I thought is he shot at her point blank, and I'm like, how did he miss her?
Well, because he was looking through the scope. If your target is right in front of you, you do not have to look through the scope. Just fucking shoot in the general direction. Well, anyway,
we find out because she gets away because he's out of a bullet then. She gets away.
Oh.
And...
No, before she gets to a fucking car.
So, boys and girls, okay, if you're covered in blood...
Don't go yelling
and
like
you
this.
And you want help from a car, you don't go running up and screaming, ah, help me.
No,
you go
you
calmly,
don't.
hello, somebody call 911. I need help. I've been abducted. I escaped.
Whatever,
but she just goes running, screaming bloody murder. And this woman's with her kids. She's like, kids, get in the car.
I mean,
and they take
did,
off.
Yeah, she did get the right idea. But
we find out that, he did indeed hit her. But, of course, he shot her right in the hard drive. With a high-powered rifle from point-blank range, and it did, and apparently it went through the hard drive, but it never touched her.
No.
So that was a little bit of a plot.
She finally, she was able to call the cops, and the cops did come. And you're thinking, boy, this is going really good.
Well,
for
and
her.
Arthur is nothing else but proactive.
Yes.
He figures she's going to be coming back with the cops.
Yep.
So he puts on his glasses so we don't know it's Arthur.
But also his
and he buttons up his shirt too.
Yeah. And
turns into Francis.
Story. Yes. He already has a story for when the cops come with her, which I'm thinking, why the fuck would you take the victim back to the house?
Well, because they need to know the house. She doesn't know the address. She just knows what the house looks like.
Whatever. So,
but at that point, you don't let her. You say, stay in the car.
Yes.
Do not leave this car. Like you're telling me somebody just tried to kill you. Here, come on and walk up to. Well, they tell her just to stay back at the car, but they let her out of the car.
So then, obviously, our friend Francis, aka Arthur, aka the killer, opens the door, all meek looking, and he goes, "Oh, are you here because I call you?" And yes, there was
because he made a 911 call in the meantime, reporting somebody for trespassing, and
the description of what she's wearing
Yeah.
and what she looks like.
And
So
basically says
that was
this
really
bitch is
smart.
obsessed with me.
I mean, that was really smart.
Yeah, well, that was really smart. Yet he lets keys to the cage sit right there, and you know,
No, I gotcha. I understand. I gotcha.
you know.
But this works because she's acting like a fucking lunatic. I mean, rightly so. I'm not saying that she
Well,
didn't,
yeah, you would think she would be a little emotional, but you figure, at that point, you'd probably get farther with it, just going, look, he's making it up.
Yeah.
If you go in, the bodies are right there.
Which she did try to say to the cops.
Just
go inside. Just go inside.
Like that
right?
might be probable cause.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
you would think a decent cop. I mean, I'm well schooled in bird law. That's it. Anything after that, but you would think if somebody reported this,
Charlie
you
Day.
would take it seriously and go, look, hey, we have probable cause. She says that you have bodies and stuff in your house. We need to come in and take a look.
However, he made a really good, strong case because he's like, she's a lunatic. She has been here before. I've reported her before to the police, and she ended up killing her sister in the train tracks. And then she fucking loses it. She lunges at him. And that's when the cops realize, I think he's right.
She's making herself look like the way he says she is.
Yeah.
Where I still think the cops could have said, look, you get back in the car, and they could have walked back to him and said, look, we got to take this report seriously.
Absolutely.
Because there are people that have been reported missing in this area. And now she says those people are in your basement. We can we come in and take a look around, buddy?
Now, we're not cops.
Well, maybe even if he says no, then you go back, you try and get a search warrant. But the cops at this point are like, have a nice day, buddy.
Yes. To me,
sorry about the inconvenience.
If I was a cop, and I've always wanted to be a cop, sorry, don't shoot the messenger.
Thank God she's not.
I would always treat every scenario as a possibility.
Now she just does it in her personal life. She treats every scenario as a possibility.
Yeah. Anyway, so she's obviously.
I'm funny.
Well, she ends up in the ER because she has like.
Well, yeah, she's got to get stitched up. I mean, she is beat up.
Yeah, and the nurse there, because they tested her blood and she had fentanyl in her blood system
from when she got abducted.
Yes. She's kind of like, well, you had some fentanyl in your drug
and the first
system.
thing she yells is, I'm not an addict. Instead of going, the man that abducted me drugged me with fentanyl.
But
she's like, I'm not an addict!
Yes. But the nurse says, well, we do have a protocol for this, and gives her
Narcan.
And
nasal, like a,
yes. Well, that's, yeah.
I call it a nasal suppository because they don't put it in your butt.
Yeah, you would like that. So, our killer contacts Margot because he realized his hard drive is missing. And he's demanding Margot to...
He says you have 1 hour to bring my hard drive back or everybody in the house dies.
Yes. So she
now again, right there, you show the cops the text message that you just got from the guy that you say has all the bodies, because he just basically said, you got 1 hour to bring back my evidence, your evidence you have against me, or I'm going to kill everybody. He said, here you go, officer.
But she's already been scrutinized by the officers.
Yeah, but still. No. Now you have basically what is a borderline confession.
I get it.
You think that would be probable cause because he says, or everybody here dies.
She devises a plan. Okay? She devises a plan, and she's getting an Uber ride back to Killer House. And in the meantime, she's spraying herself with Narcan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is thankful to another Rhino.
What the hell are you talking about?
The TikTok app. Kino app, where she saw a video
Roku.
that they were talking about the Narcan reversal bullshit, whatever.
So, this is more foreshadow. Like, she's basically building up her resistance
Yes,
to the next
the Narcan
shot of fentanyl.
or the fentanyl shot. So she shows up to his house.
Again. So you went on your soapbox. I gotta go on my soapbox.
Okay.
She's standing out front of his house. Now, this is a residential neighborhood. There's other houses around. Yes. He's standing there wide open with the front door with a gun pointed at her going, okay, so what are we going to do about what we got going on here? And she's like talking. They're having a whole conversation while he's standing there holding a rifle in a residential neighborhood. Apparently nobody's home in this neighborhood. And then...
It's a school night.
And then he's like...
Sleeping.
Come on in. And she's like... Okay.
Well, she empties her pockets as he directed her, and she.
There's no way I would have went. No. We'll figure this out here. But no.
Get off.
She's like, come on, I'll go into your house.
Yeah, and he did see the lipstick. He touched the lipstick, and he had lipstick.
That's how you know it's only lipstick.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
And so he lets her in. They start talking. She asks why.
Well,
or whatever.
He's basically like, "Do you want to help me out? Because I want to kill. I want to kill you. You're gonna go out with a bang. Like I'm gonna make you famous because he wants to be famous too.
And he really thinks that they are like this pair matched in heaven because of the train accident.
Well, he can use her to get what he wants, and which is it was a nice, I think, little twist because a lot of serial killers would brag about their crimes in papers, like Zodiac, stuff like that. Like they want the recognition, they just don't want to be caught. Yeah. So he was getting the recognition through social media.
Yeah, because that's what we do today, right?
So he basically, he gives her the pen, the EpiPen, and says, here you go, you can do it. And she does it knowing that the fentanyl is going to counteract the Narcan. So
she's hoping.
She pretends to be unconscious and go down. Mm-hmm. And so, of course...
Well, there was already the bodies where she was
yeah. Well, first of all...
Attached to the mannequins.
We find out, everybody else is dead now anyway.
So he lied.
Yeah. And
a serial killer.
And our newscaster's son... And
his head
our influencer,
and the influencer, their head were kind of like
sewn on or attached to the mannequins' bodies.
Yeah.
So she goes down, and we know she's just pretending. And so, of course, he just lingers around way too much around her body. And now she pulls out her lipstick knife, which the blade is about probably half an inch big.
However, she doesn't just stab him once.
Well, she paper cuts it. She paper cuts him to death. Yep. Mm-hmm. And she's like stabbing him all over, and a struggle ensues.
But because he is OCD about blood, he gets disgusted, right? He's freaking out because there's blood all over him now. And she continues to take advantage of that. He's freaking out. She continues to stab.
Well, this is kind of where it went a little bit off the rails with me, because they're struggling. They're having a fight, and at one point he picks up something and he hits her square in the head.
A mannequin's head.
Yeah. Like three really times. Hard. Like she'd have been out.
Really hard.
She'd have been out at that point, or disoriented enough that she wouldn't have been able to react.
Definitely a concussion.
So he hops on top of her, and they're rolling around in their plastic.
In the plastic thing, yes.
Yeah, and he pulls the plastic over her face, and he's suffocating her.
But of course...
This is a pet peeve with me, every movie, I don't care if it's a horror movie or whatever, where somebody's getting suffocated and there's someone either sitting on top of them or right along there and they're suffocating
Fucking
them.
legs.
And there, but there's always a
Something
weapon right off to the
right
side
off
that
the
somebody's
bridge.
waiting for.
Yes.
And the dude
Yes.
that's suffocating you
Doesn't see that.
doesn't see that. Like, dude, she's reaching for the. It was like a metal
like
thing with a
big
point
pole,
that he used to prop up the mannequins.
Yeah. So
And I'm
to
like,
me,
he
my
doesn't
pet
see
peeve-
that she's going,
Trying
reaching
to
for it for
grab
like
something.
10 minutes, and he doesn't see
To
this.
me, the biggest pet peeve, if it's not that, it's you can use your fucking legs and your your lower body. Someone
Well,
is
she
trying
was
to
on
get...
her stomach. She didn't have much
Yeah.
leverage.
Well, okay.
If she was on her back, yes, I'd agree with you 100%. But
So
then again,
eventually she
people don't
grabs
know
it.
this. You're panicked. You're getting suffocated. Oh, why don't we try this? I'll start suffocating you.
You know, I was in the military,
And we'll see.
I know how to...
You can't walk up a set of stairs without getting winded. I don't want to
Oh,
hear
you're
it.
the one who fell down the stairs. Not because I pushed him.
I did. I was carrying a water cooler downstairs and I
did
missed
not
a step.
push him. I said, do not fall down the stairs.
She spoke it new existence.
And then he fell down the stairs.
And I bench pressed that bitch right off me.
No, he kicked it.
I used my
kicked
lower
it.
body.
Anyway.
So anywho, so she stabs him, picks up this spear,
Yes.
stabs him. He's on his back now, and she
He
just
grabbed
starts
him.
stab.
No, he grabbed Ed, and he was trying to like. Anyway, so
dumb.
somehow she grabs his face because, ladies, if you can spit, grab his balls, or grab his eye sockets,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
Yes.
balls in the eyes, but spit. That would just piss me off.
Spit.
I'd just stab you even harder.
Fucking spit on him. And if you're chewing gum, even better because there's no rules in.
We're gonna rename this podcast to Vanessa's Soapbox.
Anyway, she grabs his face and like his eye sockets.
She grabs his face right with his face.
Mm-hmm.
In the face.
And the eye sockets, and he sort of lets go of the
Well, they're
weapon.
not eye sockets if there's still eyes in them.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So she was able to grab the pickaxe, whatever thing, and she stabs him repeatedly, and he doesn't die.
No. So she basically now she's like, okay, I gotta
Well,
take
he's incapacitated.
Yeah, she's like, I gotta take a breather.
Mm-hmm.
And
She did that a lot.
she then
Takes off.
she's wearing a wire.
She's wearing a wire with
And
a
she's
camera.
like,
with
I
a
got
camera.
your whole confession here.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha
Well,
ha.
she did ask him before at some point, like, why faces of death,
So
right?
yeah.
And that was something that we all had in mind, like,
No, I didn't.
well, like, why? What is it about the faces of death? And he said because something along the lines of, if something like good that was done, people recreate it, it's gonna, like go viral or whatever.
So
His whole purpose in life was just to go viral.
the more when we're recapping this movie, the more like some of this stuff doesn't make sense. Like, why would she need to sit there and upload his confession?
Yeah.
You
I
have a
would've
house
gone.
full of bodies.
Yeah, I would have left. I would have left.
I would have killed. I
However,
would have stabbed him in the face.
She did say
and left and
she
called
did
the cops.
say something very important, because there was a reason why she didn't just grab everything and left. The cops didn't believe her before, so why
Yeah, but
would they now?
Because
I
there's
know,
a
I
house
know.
full of dead bodies.
I know.
And
But
video
so-
cameras and all the computer
so-
evidence down there.
But so now she wants to play his game. And in his game, or whatever it is in today's society, is, which I thought it was going to be like seeing is believing, but it wasn't. It's what did he say? Give the people what they want. And that's why she uploaded the video that she had just taken, which I don't know how many minutes that was. It should have taken a long time to
I
upload.
get it. It was for dramatic effect because it's a movie.
Absolutely.
But I do like a sense of realism in my movies.
You left that out the door a long time ago, buddy.
So, bottom line, and the movie is over when her upload is complete.
Well, the thing is, he's not really dead, right? He's taunting her.
No,
as
he's alive.
dying.
He's alive just long enough for her to go, ha 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 ha. This is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
And you should care as you're dying, because
Well,
now people are gonna know that you're a killer.
But on his defense, and this was pretty cool. He takes out his phone and he plays out the last portion of the Faces of Death narration.
Well, as he's dying, he's
which
like
talks
clinging
about
to.
that death is not really the end.
Yeah, it is.
Well, because now this video is going to be
Yes.
out there living way after his own death.
But again,
so I think that was like metaphor of his own success.
Again, I get it. But again, like, hey, well, maybe because we're older and there's not as many serial killers anymore, or maybe there still is.
No,
They're just getting better. Like, we all remember Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy and Ed Gein and all that. Well, we got a book up there full of serial killers. You know, we remember all of them, and this was before social media.
Yeah.
You know, this dude would have been remembered. But anyway, I get it. It's for dramatic effect. You know, it's so the movie's over at this point, and
she laughs until the end.
Yeah.
Because now everybody is commenting and liking the post. And it takes us back to this social media world that we live in. That is a very real space that we live in. Everything has to go viral for someone to feel like they're successful.
Meanwhile, we don't. We have like 50 subscribers, and we feel like we're successful.
50-something subscribers. But we just recently passed the 700 followers on TikTok.
What do we got to do to get 1,000? Kill someone?
Funny.
So anyway, we're going to go into our scores, and we score on a scale of 0 to 5, 0 being just absolutely worthless and 5 being great.
And recently we adopted the 0.5 system, meaning that if we feel that there is a place between a 1 and a 2, we can give it a 1.5.
Oh my God.
We can do whatever the fuck we want because this is our podcast. And I hope you have something to say about that. Please tell us in the comments below. And I love you.
Well, so just some, before we give it our scores.
Oh, wait.
Some couple of closing thoughts.
Yes.
I felt one of the first things I said to her when we left the theater, when I said, "What do you think?" was, this could have been a standalone movie. It was marketed as Faces of Death. Same font, everything. Me being older and watching the Faces of Death movie when I was so young and impressionable, I went into it wanting to watch something that was going to be really fucked up. And it wasn't.
Well, you know what?
And I didn't see any previews. I didn't see any trailers. I didn't read anything about it. All I literally saw was the movie poster.
Honestly, that reminds me a lot. And just now, Evil Dead.
Yeah, but Evil Dead
of today. No, wait. The Evil Deads of like this past year, that there was the last sequel.
Evil Dead Rise
could have been their own standalone movie. Except for the...
No, it did harken back to the Necronomicon and the Deadites.
But that could have been its own.
It stayed in the same universe.
But it wasn't at all like the very original movie was intended to be. There's a lot of movies out there, and I agree with you. I think a lot of movies, they want to take on the name of something that was very successful. And then they try to make it into a thing. But in reality, it could have been a completely standalone movie.
So marketing is a thing,
Absolutely.
and
It's a multi-million
I
dollar
feel like
industry.
this movie might be received better if it wasn't called Faces of Death, because certain that comes with certain expectations.
For Gen X and maybe millennials.
Well, I don't know who after that is aware of the Faces of Death
But exactly. But
videotapes,
now,
but they didn't lean like, I feel like they didn't lean into it enough, if that's what they were going to associate it with. They didn't lean into it enough, and maybe there were copyright issues and stuff like that, but I don't know. They didn't lean into it enough for the people who grew up with Faces of Death. I feel like this would have been better if they just would have left that angle out, made it a standalone movie of
copycat,
somebody who was a serial killer who was going through social media like he was and killing influencers or predominant people, and they would have leaned into more of the cat and mouse, her trying to figure out who this guy was and why he was doing it. And I feel like they glossed over that a little bit, and they could have leaned into that a little farther.
I get that. I get it. I think it was a very brilliant idea. Again, I wasn't expecting
A
to be
for idea, and not so much for execution. But anyway, let's get to our
categories.
scores.
We score 0 to 5 on 3 main categories, and our first category is the plot.
So there was nothing really original about this plot, because there are other movies about copycat serial killers.
Wasn't there a movie called Copycat?
Yeah, there literally was. They just used the Faces of Death as what was being copied or inspired. There were some holes in this. I mean, there were some cool aspects of it. I will give it that. But again, I kind of predicted everything.
Really?
Like, yeah, I was like there sitting in my head, okay, going, okay, this is probably what's going to happen, and this is going to happen, and blah, 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 blah. And, nobody's going to believe her, and she's going to have to do it all herself. So I'm going to give it, I'm being generous, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5. A 2 out of 5 dissolved roommates.
Okay. So I agree and disagree with this. I think the plot wasn't super 100% original. However, there was originality to it. I think it brought today's technology up to the front of it. I think it was very well captured in today's technology. I think this is going to resonate with a lot of younger generation, and not necessarily the Gen Zs. I think it's going to resonate with even millennials and all of that. So I think it was well thought out. I think it made sense. Yes, there were some plot holes, absolutely, but to me, it made the connection between the original movie and the now. I think that the fact that the main character did everything the right way. Like, okay, so for many years, every time we watch a horror movie, it was, they're doing this, they're doing that, they're gonna get killed, But Margot did what a common sense person would do.
No, she didn't.
And Sammy did too. I think they both did.
Not at all.
All of this gives me the feeling that this is more of a 3 out of 5 monkey brains.
Okay, so it's okay to be wrong.
That's second category is acting and directing.
So I do have to say the acting performances were really good. They were believable. I think The directing, maybe that ties in with the plot a little bit. I think, other than when they escaped the house, she did everything wrong. She did everything to make everybody think she was just Looney Tunes and not believable.
Okay,
I
she
think
did
she
a
did
little bit,
everything
but
wrong.
not everything.
But the acting performances were really good. Um, I liked our serial killer. He was believable. He great job.
Yeah.
He did a great job. Everybody else did too. Um, so I think for that, the directing, good, solid. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 dissolved roommates.
Yeah, I think the acting was very believable as well. I think she was, Barbie Ferreira was very relatable. She had a very solid performance. Everybody else did good, but between Barbie and what was his name? Crew?
Crew Jones.
Crew. No,
If
not Crew
if
Jones.
you know, you know.
Acre. I'm butchering his name.
Daiquiri
Daiquiri,
or
like the drink,
Decray.
like the drink daiquiri. They did really good. They were believable, and they made me feel like I was right there rooting for her and hating him. So for this reason, I will give it a 4 out of 5 monkey brains. Our last
Wow.
category is the rewatchability.
So rewatchability to me means 0. You don't want to rewatch it at all. 5. You can rewatch something over and over and over again and know how it turned out, and you don't care. A truly great movie, when it comes to rewatchability, will give you that sense of
Mm-hmm.
suspense. Even though you know what's going to happen, it'll invoke that same feeling over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
That's reserved for the classics. This is not one of them.
No.
Um, there may be a couple little things that I may have missed in the technology side, where she was typing stuff in Reddit because it was just going through
It
so
was going
fast.
fast.
Um, which
Too fast for him.
well, but that's what I would have loved them to pay more attention
Yeah.
to, was the cyber aspect of it.
Well,
Which
you need a pause button for that.
it was
For
a
you
lot, but
and me.
there's yeah, I don't want to watch this movie again. Once was not that it was bad. It's just once was enough.
Mm-hmm. So
You know.
what is your score?
Uh, I'm gonna be generous just because there's some stuff that I may have missed, and give it a 2 out of 5. Dissolved roommates.
I definitely want to watch this again. I had a lot of fun. I personally was literally at the edge of my seat. I love a good cat and mouse kind of movie. It just keeps me hooked and entertained. And at the very least, it was very entertaining. I think it was well done, regardless of the Faces of Death original plot. I mean, yeah, regardless of it, I think it was a solid movie. So definitely would watch it again once, maybe twice. I don't think more than twice. So for that reason, I will give it 3 out of 5 monkey brains.
So you gave it a 10
A 10 out
out
of
of
15.
15.
I enjoyed this movie. I think it was really well done.
I gave it a 7.
And that's pretty much at the
It's
average.
an average. It's an average movie. I don't
Yeah.
think it's bad.
No.
I just think it's average, and because to me it's been done.
Yeah. Well,
Killer keeping people in his basement.
yeah.
Someone with the cops not believing them, having to take on the case of their own.
Yeah.
It's been done a million times.
Yeah.
They tried to freshen it up with the Faces of Death angle to it, and it just wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It didn't make enough of a connection
Now,
with me
if
for
you
that.
go in with that high expectation of Faces of Death, I will guarantee you, you will not enjoy this movie.
Yeah,
Just go in.
just ignore that it's called Faces of
Yeah.
Death.
Yeah.
And maybe just rename the movie in your own head of guy does some shit and chick tries to catch him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll have a better time.
Yeah. Definitely.
But with
Now
that being said, they marketed it as Faces of Death.
they
So
did.
it did set a certain expectation of I'm going to watch something that's going to fuck with me forever, like the original did.
Yeah.
And it just didn't because I almost forgot about it already.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with that being said,
What time is it?
what time is it?
Game time.
For tonight's game, for tonight's trivia, I looked up some movies that were meant to feel like they were real. And so I hope that you play along with us and we'll see how he does. Okay. The Blair Witch Project was marketed as what to make it seem real? A. A leaked police tape. B. A true documentary. C. Real student footage found in the woods. Or D. A news broadcast.
Well, it could have been like 3 of those things, but C.
Real student footage found in the woods. Very good. Okay, hold on. Okay, our next one. In Cannibal Holocaust, what caused controversy upon release? Actors were thought to be actually dead. It was banned for religious reasons. It had no script, or it was filmed illegally.
A.
Actors were thought to be actually dead. And
Well, with Cannibal Holocaust too, they actually signed an agreement that they would not make any appearances. I believe it was for like a year. I think that's right.
Didn't they have to get a subpoena?
Yeah.
Okay. To appear in court to make sure that they were alive. Okay. Paranormal Activity uses what style to enhance realism? Found footage, home, animation, black and white silent film, or news interviews.
Found footage home.
In the fourth kind, what element made audiences question its authenticity? Real police reports shown, actual footage mixed with dramatization, live audience reactions, or government warnings.
Let's go B. I saw that movie a while ago.
Very good. Actual footage mixed with dramatization. Lake Mungo is presented primarily as what? A police interrogation, a family documentary, a news special / mockumentary, or a courtroom case.
Family documentary.
Very
B.
good. Sorry. Nope. A news special / mockumentary.
Oh, come on. That's just being picky.
Yeah. In The Taking of Deborah Logan, what is the original subject of filming?
Alzheimer's. Or dementia.
Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah.
Hell House LLC is centered around what location? A hospital, a hotel, a haunted house attraction, or a prison?
A hotel. The Abaddon.
No!
Yeah.
A haunted house attraction.
They make the hotel into a haunted house attraction. It started out as the Abaddon Hotel. Yes, then the rest of the movie focuses around the haunted house, but it starts out as the Abaddon Hotel. I'm protesting that one.
Okay. In Creep, why does the cameraman accept the job? He's investigating a crime. He needs money. He's there to do it, or he's making a documentary for school.
Money.
Money. Fucking money. In the Poughkeepsie tapes. Poughkeepsie tapes. What format is used? Security footage, found serial killer recordings, courtroom footage, or news bloopers?
Found serial killer footage.
Okay. Wreck takes place mostly in what setting? A forest, an apartment building, a school, or a subway?
An apartment building.
Unfriended unfolds entirely through what perspective? Security cameras, a laptop screen, body cam footage, or news coverage?
Laptop screen.
The Sacrament. The story is inspired by what real events?
Very underrated movie.
Yeah, it is. Zodiac Killings,
Nope.
Jonestown Massacre, Amityville Haunting, or Salem Witch Trials?
Jonestown. Just give me one more.
Megan is Missing becomes especially disturbing in which segment? The opening interview, the photo 1, photo 2 sequence, the final found footage clips, or the police investigation?
I've never seen that. We'll go the final found footage clips.
And he got it right. Very good.
I guess parting shots with this movie. I would say wait till it comes out on streaming.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
No need to go to the theater. You're not gonna have any kind of enhanced experience. Save your money.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, you know what? Wait until it comes on streaming. I'm sure it'll be in one of... Actually, it's a Shudder original, so it'll be in Shudder sooner than later.
Yeah. It was okay. It had its moments.
I enjoyed
It had a lot more where I was like, okay, come on.
it. It was longer than it should have been, but
I still think it should have just let go of the whole Faces of Death thing and lean into the cat and mouse.
yeah. So, I think that's all we got for you. Again, watch us anywhere on the or connect with us anywhere on the top. Nope. Watch us.
Up is down, down is up.
Watch us and connect with us. And with that being said,
We are out.
out.